Hi, Gene here with today's thought. As a political commentator, somebody who talks about political events, I am often, or maybe not often, but occasionally I have to make a prediction. There are two kinds of predictions if you're making political predictions. There are the predictions where the person making the predictions hopes he's right, and there are predictions where the person making the predictions hopes that he's wrong. This is one of the ones where I really hope I'm wrong, but one of the points that the Republican candidates are making is that if you vote for Joe Biden is actually a vote for Kamala Harris because of Biden's mental infirmities and his age. Age is really not fair. Of course, I'm biased because I'm 71, but there are a lot of people. Chuck Grassley in the Senate is a good example of somebody who's in his 80s and he's mentally sharp. There's the economist Art Laffer, who's very sharp, and he's in his 80s. It's just that for other people, dementia strikes early. You have Alzheimer's. A good example being Ronald Reagan, he did not have Alzheimer's when he was president, but he was clearly in the very early stages of tending, towards, he eventually would have Alzheimer's, and he did. So the speculation or the argument that the Republicans are making is that Biden would not make it all the way through his term, and what they're getting wrong is, that's a valid argument because I don't think he'll make it through his term, and Kamala Harris very likely would become president. But an angle they haven't thought of is that they're assuming that Biden will, try to win election, and then, he's obviously doing that. He's running for re-election, and then when he's president, try to hang on for a whole term. And remember, he'll probably be impeached too. I wonder if he'll even be the candidate. But let's assume that he's the candidate and he would win. And the assumption that all these Republicans are going by is that he would try to stay in office, but he would have a health event, or his mental faculties would decline so much, or there would be an impeachment, something that would force him against his will to resign the presidency. And of course, we hope it's not that he dies in office. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But he's obviously not at the top, in perfect health or anything even close to that. But I think what they're missing is that what if he right now has decided that he does not want to serve a full term? And you look at all the failures, whatever Karine Jean-Pierre tries to spin in her press conferences, that Biden has given us this great economy. Let's just quickly, digress, review the facts. When Biden became president, when Trump left office, the economy was growing 6.5%. GDP was growing. This now, the last 3 quarters, it's been 1%. We're growing at 1%. Inflation was 1.4%, which is negligible, and gas was I live in Tennessee. For me, it was under $2 a gallon. It was like something around $1.86. Anyways, so Biden would want to have at least one success, one achievement, one to leave a legacy of his administration. And this is the point I want to make that everybody's missing. What better legacy could a Democratic president have than to be responsible for the first black female president, which he can easily do simply by resigning. And remember, this is Kamala Harris, who she barely broke 1%. I don't think she, if I remember correctly, even achieved 1% in the Democratic primaries. There's no way she would win an election, but all Joe Biden would have to do is win the election, take the oath of office. He's president, and the very day after, just resign, and Kamala Harris becomes president of the United States for 4 years. Because whatever you can say about Kamala Harris, I mean, she's not the brightest bulb on the ornament on the Christmas tree, sharpest knife in the drawer, the knife drawer, whatever metaphor you want to use. The one thing you can't say about her is that she's corrupt, that she's as dishonest as Joe Biden. There's the prospects that she would ever be impeached are very small. The prospects that she would get reelected are I would say, just about zero. She would be just a terrible president. But in the meantime, Joe Biden, all he has to do is become president, win the election, take the oath of office, and or even the same day, and say, I hereby resign from the presidency. It's time for me to go. And Kamala Harris will be a great president. And Kamala Harris becomes president for 4 years, and that's his legacy, that he anointed forced on the American people the first black female president. And let me just be very clear when I say forced on the American people, the first black female American president. I don't mean her anything to do with her being black or female, it's just that it's Kamala Harris personally, that she would be terrible. There are great black female Republicans who I think would make would make great presidents. So I just want to make sure everybody understands, nothing to do with her sex or her race. It's just that Kamala Harris personally would be a terrible president, and she would be extremely liberal and probably more malleable, more controllable by other people than Joe Biden is. So that's what you got to think. That's a reason, a very big reason why you have to get out there and do the ballot harvesting and the early voting. Whatever you have to do, you don't want Joe Biden to become president, because, as I said in the title to this thought, not only would Kamala Harris become president, and again, this is one of those predictions where I hope I would be wrong, but that not only would Kamala Harris become president, but she would become president a lot sooner than a lot of people think she would. And that's my thought for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. But in any event, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.